This is Ishida, a sad, lonely high school student. The story begins with him quitting his part-time job. He sells all of his belongings, including his clothes and mattress. He goes to the bank and asks to empty his account. After counting all the money he received, he puts it next to his mother. Afterwards, he walks towards a bridge. He stands at the top and thinks of jumping from it, but then suddenly he stops. He couldn't take his life, and he then walks back home. A flashback then occurs where we see young Ishida walking carefree along with his two friends, Shimada and Heroes. They used to hang out a lot and have fun. He is very cheerful and fun-loving in his young days, unlike nowadays. One day in class, when Ishida is lazing, his teacher comes in and tells the class that a new student is joining them today. Ishida's friend now says that the newbie is a girl. Ishida responds, "You think I care?"
Of course!
Just then, the new student arrives. Everyone watches her silently. The girl seems to be very quiet. Ishida stares at her. The teacher then tells her to introduce herself. Ishida starts playing with his pencil, but all the classmates get curious to know about the new girl. Bisha looks towards her as she is just standing and hasn't started yet. The teacher pats her, and she then opens her bag. She takes out a notebook for conversations. She opens the first page, which has her name, Nishimiya Shoko. Ishida is amazed to see this. As she turns the page, it is written, "Please use this to talk with me." And then finally, "I'm deaf." This amazes Ishida even more, as well as all the other students in the class. Ishida suddenly cries out, "Holy crap!" Later, all the girls in class try to talk with her through the notebook. Now Chan teases her, "Nishia, do you speak Japanese?" And Ka tells her, "Watch your mouth." Later, through the notebook, Nishia tells them to come again. Ka asks her, "Do you have any nickname?" It's Shochan, and now says to Ishida, "Her nickname is Shochan, just like you." Ishida, who's bullying his friend, says, "It's not nice," and pulls his pants. Later, when the teacher starts teaching, Nishia looks here and there as she can't listen. Now taps her with a pen and asks for her notebook to help her. She then starts writing notes for her while Ishida watches. In music class, they all are ready to sing, but Nishia starts singing before anyone. Everyone looks at her. Kawai taps her shoulder to tell her, "You went too early." Now says, "Forget about winning the competition. We're screwed." Later in class, the teacher scolds Now for bad pronunciation, but when Nishia's turn comes to read, she reads in a very undeveloped tone, like a child. The teacher doesn't scold her, which makes Naka a bit pissed off. Now Ishida starts reading like Nishia and ends up getting scolded. At cleaning time, Nishia watches the girls and goes to talk with them, but they don't seem to be interested. As days pass by, girls who want to be friends with Nishia start ignoring her. Now lies to Nishia that they are going home when in reality, they are going to some other place to have fun. Nishia is standing alone when Ishida appears and throws a stone at her. He says, "You need to be smarter, or people will start hating you." She comes closer to Ishida and asks him, "Will you become my friend?" She sounds weird. Ishida couldn't understand her sign language and undeveloped words. He throws sand on her saying, "You are gross," and walks away from there. The next day, a teacher specialized in sign language joins and tells everyone about it. She says that if they learn it, they will be able to communicate with Nishia. Nishida thinks of what Nishia was trying to tell him in the playground, while Now objects, "Isn't it enough we write in her notebook?" The teacher says with sign language, it will be easier to talk with Nishia. Just then, Sahara says, "I'll learn sign language." She becomes friends with Nishia and tries to converse in sign language with her, but Now doesn't like this. "I'm sorry that I stopped the video, but what an annoying Kardashian girl this is." So she starts making fun of Sahara's clothes and chubbiness. Sahara can't endure this and leaves the school. Ishida realizes that she left and thinks that it's because of Nishia. Later, he writes bad things about Nishia on the board. Now says, "Ishida, you are going too far, man." Shimada calls him a bad boy, and he says, "Who cares? I think it's just right." Just then, Nishia enters and walks to see it. Ishida says, "Yikes, who did this?" and starts wiping it, saying, "How mean. Don't worry, I will wipe this." And then he says, "All gone." Nishia takes the chalk and starts writing something. It's, "Thank you." Ishida doesn't like this and walks away. In class, Ishida cries out loudly in her ears, which shocks her. She looks back, and the teacher scolds Ishida to behave as they are in the middle of the class. Nishia holds her ears because it's painful for her. Now looks at her and thinks of something. She approaches Nishia and checks her ears. She has hearing aids. Now says, "Show me," as she takes them out. Ishida calls her, "What is that?" "Let me see." She throws them towards him and he throws them away, saying, "It's gross." "I'm sorry, but what the fuck was that?" And with this, Ishida's bullying starts. He keeps throwing away her hearing aids, shouts loudly in her ears, draws bad things on her notebook, wets her with water, and tries every mean to bully her. Part 2 is coming very soon, so subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it.